welcome to Living Screen. I'm Chris Dodrell, and today we'll take a look at a branch of the New York City Police Department that's very often taken for granted, and it's usually unfamiliar to most of us, the New York City Harbor Police. We're very pleased to have with us three members of the Harbor Patrol Unit. We have their commanding officer, Captain Donald Brosen, Lieutenant Alexander Caruso, and Patrolman Tommy Dodrell. Gentlemen, welcome to Living Screen. Captain Brosen, I'd like to start off with a little bit of background about the Harbor Patrol Unit. When did they first go into operation?
Well, it was more than 100 years ago when the department first placed 5 rowboats into the water to combat piracy and mutiny along the waterfront. The following year, the first steamboat was acquired by the department. This remained in existence until 1863, when the department replaced it with the Patrol, which was built at police department specifications. Towards the turn of the century, as the harbor encompassed a greater area, several smaller launches were added. During the Prohibition era, the department converted from steam-powered vessels to gasoline power in order to cope with the speedy craft that were utilized by the rum runners.
Well, we have a few slides of some of the older launches that were used.
This is one of the older gasoline boats used around the 30s, about 45 foot long, manned by maybe 3 patrolmen and powered by a gasoline engine. As you notice, there's a rowboat on board, which even the modern boats use today as a supplement in case you have to get into shallow waters. This is Old Marine Launch Number 1, which operated from 39th Street in Brooklyn. Had the lower bay to patrol, the upper bay, and areas of Brooklyn. About 62 foot long, gasoline powered. This is a crash boat. It's approximately 42 foot long, developed speed of 23 knots.
What do you mean by crash boat?
The idea of speed and getting to, for instance, if a plane was down, this particular boat operated off LaGuardia Airport, and it was possible for it to respond immediately and enable it to rescue passengers if it was possible. This is a forerunner of the present 27-foot boats which we presently have. We use them in the summertime to force the navigation law, such as people who recklessly operate their boats and do not comply with the navigation law. This boat's about 21 foot long. This boat here replaced the boat in the previous slide. It's a little more modern, a little larger, and a little faster. It's of wood construction.
Now, how many boats do you have right now, year-round?
We have 14 boats, 9 boats year-round, 5 summer boats. The 9 launches are 52 foot long, 13 feet wide, and they're powered by twin diesel 250 horsepower engines.
Now, the ones used in the summer can go considerably faster.
Yes, they're much faster. They develop speeds up to 30 miles per hour.
Why don't we take a look right now at the area you actually have to deal with. Now your section's divided.
Well, we have, this is 576 miles of waterway. It's divided into 7 marine posts.
576 miles.
That's right.
Incredible amount.
We have one launch that covers all of Jamaica Bay. A launch located at Sheepshead Bay covers all of Sheepshead Bay, Coney Island, and the ocean part of Rockaway, 2 miles into the ocean. A launch located at 52nd Street, Brooklyn, covers the lower part of Staten Island.
That
covers the upper part of Staten Island into Kilvan, Cullen, Arthur Kills. And also Governor's Island up until in the East River, north to the Williamsburg Bridge. Our launch located at the Battery in Manhattan covers all of the Hudson River up to the Westchester line, to the lower water mark of the Jersey Shore.
Why are New York City Harbor Police responsible for the Jersey Shore?
Well, we're responsible with an agreement reached about 100 years ago with Jersey for the jurisdiction and patrol of all the Hudson River to the low water mark on the Jersey Shore.
I see.
We have a launch located at Ward's Island, which covers, Ward's Island located right here, which covers all of the East River and the Harlem River to a point where it engages the Hudson River.
You also go out along the along Long Island Sound to the Nassau border, right? That would be out here.
Yes, that would be, well, that would be the College Point launch, or the Hart's Island launch, over to the Westchester line and Nassau line.
And when you get out there, Nassau has their own harbor
Yes, they
team.
have their own harbor patrol unit.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about the men that you command. How many men are in harbor patrol?
Well, we have 173 patrolmen, 16 sergeants, and 2 lieutenants.
And 9 of these are frogmen, correct? Underwater divers?
Yes.
Now, what is their function?
Well, the underwater recovery team is very valuable in grappling operations, recovering autos that may be in the water, removing dead human bodies from the water, and also sunken wreckage of aircraft or boats.
Is that ice
Yes.
that's all around there?
In this particular scene, you see there's a boat there, the mast of a boat, and most likely what they're doing here, they're examining the boat, the interior of the boat, to see if there is anyone aboard. That happens quite often where a boat will sink, maybe someone's aboard who was sleeping aboard it that night.
Now, your men in the Harbor Patrol unit, they come from a very, very varied background, but most of them do have maritime training, Navy training, etc.?
Yes, most of them come from Navy backgrounds. The few that don't, we give training, additional training too, but they are all training. Training is a continual operation in a Harbor Patrol unit, both in the handling of launches and in the rescue operations. We're continually trying to innovate and improve our rescue procedures.
And you have a few men that have their master's certificates?
Yes, we have quite a few men who have, well, a few have master's certificates, but others have other licenses, motorboat operator's license, engineer's license. Quite a few men have these here, certificates.
Why don't we take a look now at the interior of one of your present-day launches. And you have a lot of sophisticated equipment on board, such as radar, such as depth finders.
Yes, fortunately we are equipped with radar, which permits us to operate in any type of weather or condition. If there's a boat lost, overdue, or just can't find their way back in heavy weather, with radar we can pinpoint them and just virtually walk in on them and then bring them right home. We also have a depth finder, compass, and the launches are equipped with 2 radios. We have the normal department radio, and we're also fortunate to have the new ship-to-shore radio.
Now that,
4 channels.
on the left there, that's the
That's
radar
the radar
scope.
unit on the left. In front of the wheel, the helm, that's the binnacle of the compass, and to the left of that is the fathometer as described by Patrolman Dodrell. That indicates the depth of the water beneath the launch. And over to your right you have your throttles. That's what they call Morse controls. You could clutch and accelerate at the same time.
We noticed when we went out on patrol a few times that each of the boats are named for patrolmen. These are deceased patrolmen that died in the line of duty?
Yes, the boats are named after members of the force who lost their lives in the line of duty.
They all have a
In the
plaque.
interior of each pilot house, there's a plaque mounted on the bulkhead describing exactly how the member of the force lost his life.
And I noticed the St. Christopher medal up there. I guess you can
Well,
take...
a little help is
Yeah.
always needed.
While we're on the subject of the boats you're using today, you have many, many people in the New York City area that own private boats, and they seem like they all take them out on the summer. How many people do you have in New York
That own boats?
Yeah.
Private boats, well over 200,000 are registered with New York State.
Now, although you're primarily dealing with law enforcement, I imagine most of your time is taken up simply with rescue, emergency operations, services to the public, correct?
Yes, it is.
I would say the bulk of our time, yes,
Yeah.
is donated to that. I would like also to say that anyone who operates a boat, or any boat that's operated within the navigable waters of the state and has power aboard, any kind of power, whether it's an outboard or an inboard engine, must be registered with the state.
Now, your department is initiating a new program, Operation ID, right? You want to tell us about that?
Yes, in cooperation with our Crime Prevention Bureau and in cooperation also with the police, the Harbor Auxiliary Police and various yacht clubs and marinas throughout New York City, boat owners will be able to bring their property to us. We will engrave their Social Security number followed by NYC. This number and their names will be registered with us, and a decal will be placed on the launch in a visible location, readily identifying to any would-be thieves.
That's this decal here.
Yes, that any would-be thieves that the property is registered with the department. I will also like to say that this will also make the apprehension of the criminal much more probable and will reduce the value of the property a great deal on a resale scale.
Can you give us some kind of an idea of just how much property is stolen each year in New York City?
Better than $300,000 worth.
And you're responsible to recover that and follow it up?
Yes, in the past we have recovered approximately $100,000 to $125,000 worth of this property. With this operation identification, we hope to cut down on the amount of larcenies from boats. And we also feel that if these boats are identifiable as a bad risk to take anything from, it'll give us more time for expanded patrol.
It will make it that much more difficult, too, for someone who does remove property from a boat to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Now,
who would want to buy a piece of property that has identifying marks on it, like a Social Security number?
In dealing with the public now, you constantly have various seminars and things where you go out and talk to them at yachting clubs and all?
Yes, we do. We go out and visit yachting clubs. Any group at all that will have us will gladly come and tell them the pleasure that the water gives plus the dangers that are there. There are a lot of dangers that exist. And of course, while we're there, we always bring along anything we can to help them securing their property, notes on new navigation laws, navigation procedures, and anything we can give them on safe boating.
To get a first-hand look at your men, we went out one day a few weeks ago, and there was a call that there was a car in the water, and your recovery team went out there. Now, this is a destroyer, right?
No, it isn't. It's a training ship with the Maritime Academy at Fort Schuyler. The graduating class take this ship out, and they take it on, supposedly it's getting their feet wet before they put to sea as licensed officers. It's the last thing the graduating class does. They man this and completely run it for about 2 weeks.
And that's where they train.
Yes, sir.
It's the Annapolis of the Merchant Marines, you'd say.
Now, out here, we're pretty close to the Nassau County border, aren't we?
Yes, you're close to the border. This launch is now on patrol, or this launch is responding to that scene of a car in the water. But as they're responding, they're forever looking out into the water, observing if there is any pollution, or possibly a boat might be in distress. So they're always observing the conditions that exist.
Their normal patrol, it includes going over, checking the moorings. How about the base of the bridges?
Well,
such
they
as
check
the
the
throts and
bases of the
anchorages?
bridges, the bridge structures themselves. They also report on the traffic conditions that exist on these bridges and highways that are readily available from the launch.
Now, here the pilot of this launch got that call.
Right,
that
he's
there was a
receiving
car.
that call on a ship-to-shore radio that there was a car in the water in the vicinity of 106th, 108th Street and the Harlem River. And he will proceed to that location. He notifies the other members of the crew that they have a car in the water, and they start to prepare to launch to save a life. They'll strip the boat, get the boat ready, the small boat that is, and the equipment that they may need will be laid out at the ready, knowing that there may be a life in danger trapped in this vehicle, and they will do their best that when they get on the scene to get the life.
Yeah, this is Rikers Island, right?
Yes, that's Rikers Island. They have a prison population over 5,000 inmates. Every now and then, an attempt is made by several of them to escape. We have been successful in apprehending some over the years.
You can
They
see there's
expect-
a... Well,
They
there's a
expect to be
ferry-
picked up there?
Well, they have been. Just about 4 years ago, they built a bridge. Prior to that, there was just a ferry. And the only way that was accessible to the island was by water. Now with the bridge, it gives them a close proximity to the Queen Shore.
In this scene here, they're preparing to launch the rowboat. As he described before, the tarpaulin is removed and the rowboat is launched. And
Each
this-
launch has that rowboat on it.
Each launch is equipped with a rowboat and an outboard motor. In this particular case, it's not necessary to use the outboard, so they're just rowing.
You'll notice they both wear life jackets in the event they're dumped out of that boat. They take every safety precaution and take care of themselves. In this instance, if it's available, a diver will immediately go down to ascertain if there's anyone in this car. And from the people on the shore, they're given the approximate location of where the car went in. With their knowledge of the tide conditions that exist, the water, they have a pretty good knowledge of how far that car is going to drift, how far away from the actual spot it went through that railing to where it hit the water, to where they're going to find it. And he has a pole on it. He found it.
I'd like to bring in a point that the divers, in addition to diving for wreckage and recovering bodies, are also of great value to the department in the investigation of crimes by our land units. Many criminals in serious crime dispose of their evidence in the water, guns and so on. They have been instrumental in many investigations, bringing them to a successful conclusion. Recently, they recovered a jewel box from the East River, and this was instrumental in solving any investigation of a homicide of an elderly woman.
Mm-hmm.
They have the car hooked up and they're pulling it out.
That's your tow truck, right?
Right, that's ours. But if this was a big truck or something like that, we would call on sanitation with their large wrecker to come down and give us a hand to get this car out.
And it's department policy to remove any passengers in the car before the car is removed.
It seems to have gotten caught on the piling.
Well, this happens. They use whatever they can. Probably the rowboat or the fellas up on the dock will be able to swing the car around and get it up. This is where that sanitation department comes in with their big wrecker. Their boom sits out a little further and it keeps the car clear of the dock as they're raising it out.
This happens to be a small car, and it's not that heavy in weight, so our own department record can easily remove it.
Now, you men must go through a lot of grappling operations throughout the year. Any idea? Number?
Approximately 200 a year with the grappling team, and they recovered, I believe, more than 100 bodies from the water by grappling and another 20 by scuba divers.
Is it difficult to, in grappling for a body? I mean, you have such a large area.
Well, this basically is if there's a good area, if you have someone that jumps into the water or suicides, that